The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our JubiRev team webinar. Excuse me, I feel a little cough coming on. This is T. Lamont Silver Sr., and this is not a corporate webinar. Again, I want to make sure that we highlight that, because when I'm on a corporate webinar, we have to have a corporate hat, certain things that we can't say on corporate webinars because corporate can't endorse certain things. Doesn't mean that they're not okay, just corporate can endorse certain things from a compliance standpoint. On our team webinars, though, there's things that we can talk about more fervently and more passionately than we can do on corporate webinars. So our custom over the next few weeks will be to have at least one team training webinar, typically on Tuesday night. If we feel it necessary to do something on the Thursday, it would either be typically on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night. There's our audio recording. So if you would do me a favor real quickly, open up your questions box, tell us who you are, tell us where you're from, tell us how many Jubi points or Jubi bucks. Some of you maybe have Jubi bucks that haven't converted to points yet. Give us an idea. I won't associate your name with your points or anything like that. Just want to see how things are going as you're building. Tyron from Trinidad, welcome to the webinar. Tyron's moving up the ranks there, guys. He's going to be a two-star. I don't know if it's going to be a two-star or 2 carat. So we should have some finality on whether it's going to be referred to as 2-star or 2 carat. But he's going to be 2-star very, very soon. Joyce from Missouri, welcome to the webinar. The Show Me State. Alice, welcome to the webinar. Johnny from Washington, welcome to the webinar. Michael from Alabama, welcome to the webinar. I'll give you a few totals here. 1,875 Jubi points. Someone has 1,725 Jubi bucks. We've got 10,120 Jubi points. We've got 1,443 Jubi points. We'll get back to some introductions. Louise from down under in Australia, welcome to the webinar. Michael, welcome to the webinar. Guys, don't start putting in questions just yet. We'll get to that in just a few moments, if you would. Elaine and Andy, Perfect Attendance Award from Louisiana, welcome to the webinar. Is it Pama? I hope I said that right. Forgive me if I pronounced it wrong. Welcome to the webinar. I can tell you, if you've already put questions in, you're going to have to put them in again. Don't put any questions in right now, please, or because you're too far up and people are doing introductions. So just bear with us. We'll get to Q&As in just a few moments. Tom from Florida, welcome. Charles from Michigan, welcome. Sally from Texas, welcome. Isaiah from Cambodia, Ron from Kentucky, Dennis from California, Deborah from South Carolina. Let's give you some more point totals here, or Jubi buck totals. 1443, 24, 265, 47, 1400, 1450, 1460, 490, 69, 1345, 13,682, 300, 115, 2119, 1500. Welcome to Keen from Trinidad and Tobago. Vern, welcome. Lancelot from Jamaica, welcome. Nedra from New York. Roger from Oklahoma. Wally from Kansas City. Happy from Texas. Bo from Mississippi. Vince from Vegas. Jeff, fantastic video today, Jeff. I love that video of yours. By the way, beautiful home. Next time I want to hear you play that guitar, okay? Ron, welcome to the webinar. Jeff and Pamela and Danielle and Nedra, and is it Yuri or Yuri? Forgive me, from Dublin. Foy from Florida. Floyd, you got some very impressive group volume totals, buddy. Very, very impressive. Just a few more, and then we'll have to go on and get started, ladies and gentlemen. I won't be able to address everyone. Barry, Aubrey, Earl, Terry, Alice, John, Kevin, Arlene, Gary, Stephen or Stefan, Wally, Kirk, Joyce, Khalil, Carolyn. Phenomenal turnout. 777 points or Jubi bucks. 335, 1150, 6500, 2000. 750, 5742, 1437, 786. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. I won't be able to address everyone but we'll go on and get things started. Okay, this is a Q&A webinar. You can go on now and start putting in your questions. We're going to get to as many questions as we can between now and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Between now and 8:30 p.m. Eastern, you can start with your questions right now. You can start with your questions right now. We did post a video earlier today, and it is not yet on the company's YouTube channel. My mistake, because I don't remember what that login was. I'm trying to find the login so I can post it on the company's YouTube channel. So I posted it on my YouTube channel, which is why it hasn't gone out to the company just yet. I would prefer not go out to the entire company. I would prefer that to be on the company's YouTube channel. I have gotten that video over to our president so that he can get it to programming. So it should be showing up hopefully either late tonight or tomorrow. Oh, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I forgot. Bear with me. Okay. Let me give you the URL where you can send folks to. Tomorrow is when ad placements are supposed to start counting. Okay. I don't know if there's going to be an extension to that. I'd like to see an extension, but don't bank on that, all right, because I don't make that decision. I'd like to see an extension. Again, don't bank on that. So tomorrow is when ads count. 5 p.m. Eastern, Central Time is when your ad needs to be placed. What I would have you getting into the habit of doing is whenever you get up, before you get go out, if you're going to work or what have you, just go in and get your ad placed, okay? That's what I would have you getting used to doing that. For those of you who don't know how to place an ad, we posted a YouTube video. We tied it to a URL. So if you'll go to www.JubiAdPlacement.com. Now, we did this a few hours ago in terms of tying it to this URL. It may take some time to propagate all over the globe, but I'm sorry, you can't see my. There we go. Okay, JubiAdPlacement.com. It's going to take you to a YouTube video that walks you through how to place an ad. Walks you through how to place an ad and how to have that ad posted. How to place it, and then how to post it so that Jubi knows that your ad was placed. One other thing, and then we'll get right into the Q&As here. Bear with me. I need to log into the test account or the training account, as I'm sure a lot of your questions will probably answer many of your questions from the training account as well. Bear with me. Almost there. Alrighty. Okay. I will say this real quick, and then we'll get to your questions and answers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so pleased with how things are going. I've never seen a company in still a soft launch stage, things run as smoothly as they are. It doesn't mean that there aren't some bugs that need to be addressed. I know particularly when it comes to the Jubi Suite, there's a couple things that aren't working like they should there, and some of the commissioning is not working as it relates to that. So that's something that's being worked on now. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very, 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 very smooth. Very, very smooth. I know we've got also some issues with the Jubi account with some folks that maybe haven't gotten their cards yet, and I don't have all the answers to that. But other than that, guys, I'm really pleased. The other thing I'm very, very, very excited about is the fact that we're starting to develop the right culture. When I see Jeff White's video today where he was focusing on product and him getting his first products, by the way, already. When I got my products, it was just a regular box. When Jeff got his products today, it was in a Jubi Max box. So just in the past week, 2 weeks, we've seen a lot of modifications, and we're just getting started. I want you to know, as I get into the Q&As, I want you to know we're in a very, very special place, because we will be the company that will show the rest of this industry how to do revenue sharing and how to do it right, with product-focused, excited customers, more customers in time than what we will have in terms of affiliates, and tons of revenue coming from customers making purchases. My hat's off to you leaders. You're doing a phenomenal job. Okay, now with that being said, let's go to the Q&As, and we will answer as many questions as we can between now and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, Michael, hey buddy. Michael asks, in my email marketing, should I stop using revenue sharing business model? If yes, how are people going to know our model is new and innovative? You're not out of compliance saying revenue sharing. I will tell you that from a corporate standpoint, when we're doing corporate webinars, we are going to start to wean away from that. That was not something that the attorney said that we had to do. That's something that he would like to see us begin to wean away from that. Obviously, not enough people now know what DLB, Daily Leadership Bonus, means. And so the concept of a company sharing a portion of its revenue is still very relevant. Again, that's not a that's what's a no-no is saying things like last night we did 1.37%. That's a no-no. Saying in your email marketing revenue sharing, that's not a no-no. Just want you to know from a corporate standpoint, you're going to see us start to wean away from that. Ultimately, what will happen is there will eventually be enough people in Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, the word will get out there. People will know that we get paid on a daily basis, so on and so forth, to where we won't necessarily have to say is revenue sharing. Okay, so you should be fine with your email marketing as it is right there. Okay, all right. Someone says, how come I only make $2 a day? Couldn't tell you. How many Jubi points do you have? So the person who asked me that, tell me, how many Jubi points do you have? Your daily revenue is going to be directly tied to the number of Jubi points you have. The more Jubi points you have, the more Jubi points you're going to make. As you can see here, for instance, with this particular training account, while it has a lot of Jubi bucks, it hasn't converted a lot of those Jubi bucks into Jubi points just yet. So it's got a lot more Jubi bucks than points. But if you do the math here, and it's real easy to do the math. Let me show you how the math is done, how we determine your reward per point. Notice we don't say percentages. Okay? If you do the math here, where did my calculator go? Bear with me. There we go. All right, if you do the math here, with this training position, the reward for the day, which is, based on yesterday's revenue, all right, or yesterday's sales, the reward was $14.50 based on a point total of 1058.75. So if you took the 1450, what was the reward today? 1450. Divide that by the 1058.75, you would see that the reward per point was 0.013695. If you just wanted to round that, 0.0137. So if a person says, well, I only made $2 for the day. Well, my question is, how many points did you have? Obviously, if this person had 10,580 points, if you added a 0 here, then that day's reward would have been $145, because it would have been the same reward per point. Okay? All right, so the key is, what you want to do is you want to give away as many of your Jubi bucks as you can. If you've got resources to purchase more Jubi bucks to give away, fantastic. And even though you may be a Joe or Susie average, don't just let that be a crutch. Let's start telling the world about a JubiRev, Jubi Max, so that if someone happens to join you and they purchase Jubi bucks, you get a commission, and then you can take those commissions and you can use those commissions to help you buy more inventory to increase your Jubi point totals. Okay, I'm going to scroll down and see if you told me how many Jubi points you had. Okay, you asked me why you were making just $2. I'm asking you to tell me how many Jubi points you have, and I don't see that answer just yet, so I'm going to go to the next question. Of course, I'm not going to call your name out, all right? I'm not going to do that to you, okay? All right. How do we encourage our customers to use their Jubi bucks? Michael, let me tell you some things that will be coming that are not here just yet. Like right now, your customer's not getting an email from the company saying, hey, you've got Jubi bucks and congratulations on your Jubi bucks and here's some things you can do with your Jubi bucks. That will be coming. And my understanding is, and I do not know what the pricing is on the pro marketing system, okay? My understanding is that if should you elect to use the pro marketing system, there'll even be more things in the pro marketing system designed to getting customers to see the value of their Jubi bucks so that they can use those Jubi bucks, okay? So a lot of that is still forthcoming in terms of what the company plans on doing to communicate with the customers. Now, if these customers are customers of yours that you know, maybe family members, a friend, so on and so forth, then I would encourage you to reach out to them individually. Hey, you've got these Jubi bucks. They are a dollar for dollar discount. You can go in and you can purchase and in many cases buy the products with the Jubi bucks and only have to cover the shipping and handling. Try the products, see if they work for the cost of shipping and handling. So that's something that you can be a little bit more aggressive in doing. Some people will feel comfortable doing that. Some people will not. Again, the company will have things in place. Don't know when, because there's a laundry list of things that the company's still working on, okay? So we've got to exhibit some patience, and while we're exhibiting patience, let's just make sure we're earning on a daily basis. But thank you for that for that question, my friend, okay? When is your monthly fee due? It is based on your monthly anniversary. So if you upgraded today for $15 or $50 or $100 or $200 a month subscription, if you did that on April the 11th, then on May the 11th, your monthly subscription would be due. Now, I do know there's going to be some type of notice, and I don't know if it's going to show up in your back office. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to be, but there's going to be some type of notice probably at least a week prior to when your monthly subscription is going to be due. You'll cover your monthly subscription right now from eCash, So it would be a good thing for you to, if you have some eCash, maybe just keep some eCash there for when your monthly subscription would be due. If you don't have eCash, you can always load up additional eCash for the purposes of the subscription. And obviously, you're earning on a daily basis, so you can change your allocation as to what's going to Jubi bucks versus what's going to eCash to make sure that you've got eCash sitting up here. Let me show you how to do that real quickly. Obviously, when you come into your system, you'll have your eCash up here. Whether you've got 1,000 in eCash, as you see, this is a training position, it's not real, or you've got 0. If you click on where it says eCash, or even right here where it says eCash, all right, you're going to put in your PIN number, and you're going to click Submit. Now, sorry, wrong PIN number. Bear with me. Okay, So under eCash, then you want to go under commissions. Excuse me, eCash commissions. eCash commissions, okay? Now, these are the ways that the company pays, and each one of them allows you to have your own setting for that particular way the company pays. I want to run through this very quickly, okay? For instance, on your daily leadership bonus, this is the revenue portion, okay? You placed your ad for the day, you've got some points you earned, all right? So for your daily leadership bonus, the amount that goes to eCash, this is what this setting is. It is defaulted to 0. You can come in here and change it, but it is defaulted to 0. What does this mean? This means that when this position earned $14.50 for last night's daily leadership bonus run, notice how I'm trying to start converting my language there, all right? For the DLB run, it earned $14.50, but based on the eCash setting that we had, or based on the commission setting that we had for that way the company pays out, we were telling the company that we want 0% of that to go to eCash, and as a consequence, 100% of that reward went to our Jubi Bucks. So we got more Jubi Bucks in inventory. We could give away those Jubi Bucks to generate more Jubi points, okay? Now, let's say you want to cover your monthly subscription with a combination of commissions and or your daily leadership bonus. Can you come in here and change this allocation? Yeah, you can. Remember, you hear us say on the income opportunity webinars that you can request as much as 60% of your daily leadership bonus to be converted into eCash. Now let's make sure we understand this. You have to have this setting before the daily leadership bonus runs that particular evening. So if I have my system set to 0 right now, and 3 o'clock Eastern in the morning, I decide to change this to 25% going to eCash, but the DLB is being run, then it's not going to recognize that until the next night, okay? All right, so that's one thing that you can do there. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, your points are going to retire at some point. If you are Jade with a $15 a month subscription, or I should say $15 a month subscription gets you the Jade rank. You can also sell your way there. Your points earned for 80 days. Ruby. Quickest way to get the Ruby is $50 a month. Your points earned for 85 days. Emerald. Quickest way to get there, $100 a month. Your points earned for 95 days. And then we've got Diamond, which everyone should be eyeing, whether you are there now or not. At some point as your business warrants it, you want to be Diamond. Your points earned for 105 days. So now let me tell you, even though you can take as much as 60% of your DLB revenue, your DLB commissions, daily leadership bonus commissions, even though you can take as much as 60%, that number long term would not allow your points to continue to grow. Now, you may have to do that for a day or two here in order to generate enough revenue, let's say, to cover your monthly subscription. So I'm not talking about if you're just doing that for a couple days. But the number that we have seen, and based on what we're seeing in terms of our daily rewards, our rewards per point, all right, the number that we have seen is that when you build your point totals and you're ready for cash, there's 3 things essentially that we want to do. We want to replace points that will retire. So if you've got 10,000 points today and you are a diamond, those 10,000 points earn for 105 days. At 105 days, those 10,000 points stop earning. Did you lose those 10,000 points? No. Did the company take away 10,000 points from you? No. They lived their 105. So when my grandmother closed her eyes at 101, those of you who had been following us and you knew that my grandmother had passed on, what did you hear me say? Oh my gosh, she lived a phenomenal life, 101 years young. My gosh, what an awesome life. My gosh, what an awesome life, 105 days for those points. But we want to replace these points because you don't want to be at 10,000 points now, and then all of a sudden, weeks from now or months from now when your points retire, you're at less than 10,000 points. No, you want to see your points growing. So we want to replace the points that retire. We want to grow our points because the more points we have, the more pro rata share of the DLB, Daily Leadership Bonus, we'll have. And then the third thing that we want to do is we want to put cash in our pockets. What we have seen, and we've been applying this compensation model for 2 years, what we have seen that typically works if you've got good, strong daily rewards per point, as we do, is about a 20% to 80% ratio. Meaning, if I set my system in time, I'm not doing this now, but if I set my system in time that said I want 20% of my daily reward to go to eCash, but I want 80% to go to JubiBucks, what would that do? Well, in theory, what that would do is the 80 that goes to JubiBucks would be enough to replace points that retire, still grow my points, and then the 20% I'd be putting in my pocket as an income. Okay? All right. So what I would suggest or have you to consider is my setting right here is set to 0. I don't plan on coming off of my setting until at least 105 days. That is not everybody's story because I also get other commissions because I'm building a team. If you need to come and modify this setting because maybe you're not building a team and getting all those team commissions just yet, or you don't have the resources to load up more funds for your monthly subscription, then this is where you come to modify your daily leadership bonus allocation. What goes to JubiBucks versus what comes into your pocket. Now, you've got these other commissions that you're also paid for those of us that are building teams, and we've got teammates that are purchasing JubiBucks, so on and so forth. So the power generational bonuses, is when you've got the power generational bonuses and the generational bonus overrides. This is when you have teammates that are purchasing JubiBucks. You've got teammates that are purchasing JubiBucks. That could be John just joined, he loaded up funds, he made his initial purchase of 1,000 or 2,500 or 100 or 15 or whatever JubiBucks, and you got commissions. This could be you enrolled this test position. This test position made $14.50 last night. All of it went to JubiBucks. That's considered a transaction, and you got your commission based on what your rank happens to be. And so those pay out over here, the power generational bonuses, the generational bonus overrides, so on and so forth. You can also set these. Now, I believe these are set at 100% as the default, meaning that all goes to your eCash. You can set that, keep it as is, or you can modify that if you would like. If you have funds that go to eCash, which is fine, all right, but then you're saying, well, I don't need 1,024. I want to buy some more JubiBucks. All you've got to do is click on where it says eCash, and it'll bring you right here to where it says buy JubiBucks. So let's do that here. Let's buy some more JubiBucks. You can choose these pre-made denominations if you like, or if you want to just put in your own denomination, let's say 172 JubiBucks. All right. Click select. Sometimes this is a little confusing. Make sure, sometimes that's a little confusing there. when you're clicking on these boxes, what should happen is it's to know that it selected that amount, it should get real dark. You see how that happened there? And then it should also move to where it says deselect. Okay, so I'm going to click select here, continue. Notice my eCash is going to change. It's going to be reduced by 172. My JubiBucks is going to be increased by 172. And there you go. eCash was reduced. JubiBucks were increased. So even if you have some of your settings to where you've got funds not just all going to JubiBucks, you've got funds going to your eCash, and now you see your eCash there, and you're saying, well, you know, right now I don't need as much in eCash. My subscription's not coming up. I'm not about to request this in terms of commissions. I'm only going to request a certain amount. Feel free to click on that eCash button and make purchases if you would like. Now, let me tell you something. Be mindful that when you have eCash, okay, when you have eCash and you click on eCash to make a purchase, okay, that is new revenue that came into the company's coffers. So let me tell you one thing that I do. Before I call it a night, I always go back, especially for those of you who are building your teams, all right? I always go back into my system to see if I have eCash, because I may have a couple of these settings where some of my commissions are going to eCash. And if I've got eCash, before I call it a night, before they've calculated and done all the numbers for the day, for the sales for the day, I'll go in, if I don't need that eCash, even if it's $2.17, I'll go in and I'll click on eCash and I will buy JubiBucks, knowing that that $2.17 transaction was more revenue, and that's going to have an impact on the daily rewards that day. Plus, it's going to send up commissions upline to my enrollers and so on and so forth. Okay, all right. Let's get back here to questions. We probably knocked out quite a few questions going through that little discourse there. Okay. Someone is saying, I cannot sign into Fly Guy Marketing. Should I sign up again? I know that there were some people who were saying they couldn't sign into Fly Guy Marketing, and what was happening was, let's go to Fly Guy Marketing real quickly. Bear with me. I know one person, I don't know if this is your situation or not, the person who just asked me this. Excuse me, let's go to Fly Guy. Let's go to login. I know one of the things that someone was doing was, instead of putting their email address in, they were actually putting in a username. And I don't remember Fly Guy asking for a username, but I know that's what someone was doing. If you are having a challenge with that, I don't know why that is, then yeah, I would have you to register again. You may see if it'll take your primary email address. Maybe for some reason, maybe there was a database error or a database issue when you originally registered. Some of you registered a couple, 3 weeks ago. So try it with your primary email address. If it doesn't take your primary email address, then use maybe a second email, even if you have to go and set up a Gmail account or something like that. Okay. By the way, just so you know, from a marketing standpoint, if you're using a free, yes.
I've had several people who had put dashes in their telephone numbers when they tried to when they registered, and if they did, it didn't take.
It's at really?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was my problem last night.
Okay. All right. Hold on. So you're telling me if people, when they were registering, this is the login. Let's go back out of login. When someone was registering right here.
Yes.
You're saying if they put in dashes in this.
Right.
Okay.
I went in and just put in all numbers, and everything went through just fine. And several people asked me that same thing today, and I told them, and they went in and did it, and went through just fine.
Okay, hold on for just a moment. Let me make a note of that to let those good folks know. Bear with me, please. Okay, so those of you that have had, if you're having a challenge logging into FlyGuy, Queen, what did you do? Did you go and re-register? What did you do there?
You know what? I re-registered, but with all the same information, and it went through.
Really? Okay. So then I'm assuming then if you registered with all the same information, because typically if it would have read the same email address, it would have said that you already registered. So I'm assuming
Right.
because of that, there must have been some type of database error, and it didn't read that you were in the system at all.
Right.
What it
I never
sounds
got
like.
an email. I never got anything from FlyGuy.
Ah, okay. All right, give me a moment. When people.
But when I was still trying to go in, it was saying as if I were, and then it would tell me that JubiRev was not ready.
Okay.
Basically, you know, that little message. It was a message. It was
Right. Gotcha. People put dashes for their phone number. Okay, I'll pass that on to them. Okay, gotcha. Bear with me.
Right.
Okay, all right. So from what Queen just told us, it could have been an issue with the phone number here. So go back to flyguymarketing.com. Try to re-register with all of your correct information. Make sure when you're putting in your phone information here that you're not putting in any dashes. See if that works. If that does not, then I would say the next course of action would be to maybe use a different email address and username as you're registering, and hopefully that gets you in there, okay? All right. Do JubiBucks, great question. Do JubiBucks claimed by customers have an expiration period? Yes, they do, Barry. I don't know if that's been turned on or not. It's going to be a 30-day expiration. So people will have 30 days to use their JubiBucks. Again, I don't know if that functionality has been turned on just yet. How do we make changes to our auto ship? Great question. I don't have that answer just yet. That's one of those things that is on the list. Actually, I can tell you the entire customer experience from the customer to we in our back office. Those are things that are still being worked on to make sure that those are smoother processes. Right now, if I go back into, give me a moment. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Not what I wanted to do at all. Bear with me. eCash. You're going to spend a lot of time under eCash. Now, I said on a couple of webinars, you spend a lot of time under my account, my financials. Well, if you just click on eCash, it takes you back there. This takes you back here. eCash, manage auto ship, and there's some functionalities that's not here yet that will be coming. I don't have a time frame, but it will probably be soon, since we're really just a few weeks away from people having that auto ship, coming through. So be on the lookout for that. Give me a moment. I've got some meetings over the next tomorrow and the first part of next week. Let me put that on the list. Able to make auto ship modifications. Make ship. Now, if you have never been with a company at its genesis, one of the things I will tell you is that this is when you find out a lot of the things that need to be worked on, even find bugs or what have you. So we always have to be patient, more patient at the genesis than typically, let's say, a year from now, 2 years from now. These things will be all smooth out, but there's always going to be something because you're dealing with technology. So if you're newer to this industry or newer to a company that's just coming out of the gate, we'll exercise quite a bit of patience, give the company a lot of grace. But this is one of the reasons why we want to do these Q&As, and then I'll be meeting with management and programming to let them know some things that I know that we need to be working on, okay? Give me a moment. Someone wants us to explain the requirements of the daily leadership bonus. I will do that. Give me just a moment. What you want to do is you want to come under your home page, under Corporate Overview. You're going to see the Compensation Plan PDF. You want to download that. Give me just a moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover the requirements. We're going to cover the requirements of the Daily Leadership Bonus Program. Give me just a moment here. Okay, and everyone has a 60-day grace. After the 60-day grace is when these requirements come into place. Give me just a moment. Bear with me. I just want to make this bigger so nobody's got to squint as we're looking at this. I will tell you one of the challenges that we've seen with companies in the revenue sharing space is their lack of requirements. All right? One of the things that we've seen as a challenge in the revenue sharing space, or companies that have a compensation model where they share their revenues on a daily basis, that's for their attorneys, is their lack of requirements. Let me give you an example of a company that eventually ran into some regulatory headwinds. They did phenomenally well. I was there. Some of you were there. People did exceptionally well. Let me tell you what happened. So here was a company. They were in the penny auction space. They did phenomenally well. Okay? I joined them March 23rd, 2011. By December of 2011, they were discussing the fact that their attorneys and consultants were saying to them that they needed to institute some more sales criteria, because what was happening is that people were joining that company. That company allowed you to purchase as much as $10,000 in their product or service. They were in the penny auction model, so you would buy sample bids. So they would allow you to purchase as much as $10,000 in bids. But they had no sales criteria. So you could make a $10,000 purchase if you had the resources. You placed your ad each day, and that was basically it. That was you paid your monthly subscription, you placed your ad each day, and that was basically it. And you could grow your point totals from 10,000 to 50,000 to 100,000, and on 100,000 points, you might have been making $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a night. They never instituted any sales criteria. March 23rd is when I joined them. December 2011 is when I was brought in on some leadership calls saying, we're going to have to implement some sales criteria based on what our attorneys and our consultants are saying. The problem is they never did it. The problem is they never did it. So when Mr. Regulator came in, there were a lot of folks that had made fairly large purchases, had really done very little to generate any additional revenue for the company. And so the regulators saw that as an investment and didn't see it as a business. They saw that as people making a $10,000 investment as opposed to a $10,000 purchase because there was no sales criteria. So remember, we talk about this quite a bit, that we saw in the 90s there was a compensation model known as the binary model that a lot of companies that originally had a binary model ran into regulatory headwinds. Some of those companies got shut down, okay? But you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, and that the attorneys and the consultants in the industry started putting their heads together to figure out what did they need to do so that that model could become a viable model. They just had to make a few tweaks. And when they started making those tweaks, now all of a sudden the regulator said, oh, you know, I don't have a problem with that. You know, those companies weren't getting shut down anymore. And all of a sudden, we've seen over the past 10 years, a lot of companies, particularly in the wellness space, like MonaV, like Vima, so on and so forth, launched Isogenics, launched with binary models. We believe that we're undergoing that same evolutionary process. So the company does have some sales criteria. So let's talk about this. Here we go. So your qualifications to participate in the Daily Leadership Bonus is you need to be an active JADE promoter or above. Doesn't mean you've got to have an auto ship, but it means you have to have the volume to at least be JADE. So a person who does not have a subscription, if they do not have any sales activity, they're not going to earn in the DLB. If a person has at least a $15 a month subscription, that gives them the volume to be JADE, okay? 2, you need to place a daily qualified pre-written JubiMax advertisement. That's what's going to be placed into effect on tomorrow. If you don't know how to place or post your ad, jot down this URL, and we're JubiAdPlacement.com. That's a video that we posted for our audience a little bit earlier today. JubiAdPlacement.com. You can watch that at your leisure. Give me a moment. Okay. All right. Your award is based on your qualified Jubi point balance at the time of calculation. What does that mean? That means that when we take a look at, bear with me. When we take a look at this training position, the award was based on the qualifying Jubi points that I had at the time of the DLB calculation. I had 1,058.75 Jubi points with this training position at the time that they calculated the award. Okay. Next point. You're paid. Your award is paid in Jubi bucks. Up to 60% may be converted to eCash at the time of the award. That's where we showed you earlier that in your back office, under eCash, under commissions, under Daily Leadership Bonus, this is where you've got your setting for how much of your daily reward goes to eCash versus how much goes to Jubi bucks. The default setting, if you don't change it, is that 0 goes to eCash, 100% goes to Jubi bucks. Okay, next point. The paid is, this point here, 60% rule applies. I think that's an error there. I'll let management know about that. So don't worry about that. Okay, now, your Jubi point balance up to 25,000. So if you are not yet at 25,000 Jubi points, these are your requirements. Okay, you've got a 60-day grace. You need to have a minimum of $45 a month in personal qualifying volume, of which $30 of that personal qualifying volume is coming from separate non-promoter customer auto ships. What does that mean? All right, everybody's got a 60-day grace. After 60 days, let's say I do not have 25,000 Jubi points, my sales requirement is that I've got $45 a month in personal qualifying volume. $30 of that needs to come from a customer making purchases. $30 of the 45. So even if I have a $100 a month subscription, I have a $200 a month subscription, I still need to have some sales volume. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. How much sales volume is that? $30. So you know what you should do? Get this customer in and out of the way. Whether it's your mom, your cousin, your aunt, I believe that with utilizing Fly Guy Marketing and the fact that Fly Guy Marketing is going to be sending real traffic to your site so that we have a much better conversion rate than any of the customer acquisition services that we have used in the past for those of us that have been in leveraging this model and we would purchase customers, I believe you will get plenty of customers from that, generating your 30 PQV. But what I would do is I would go on and I would go on and get my customer in and out of the way. Cousin, aunt, sister, cousin, what have you. Okay. So if you don't have 25,000 points in 60 days, you need to make sure you've got at least a customer that's spending $30 a month. Now that $30 is not they spent 30 Jubi bucks. That $30 is not $30 they spent on shipping and handling. That needs to be $30 in product product volume, where they spent $30 above Jubi bucks, $30 above their shipping and handling. Now let's think this through. Let's think this through. That could be one customer. That could be one customer at 30 bucks a month. Now, what happens if you are over 25,000 points? Once again, here was the challenge in the past. The challenge in the past is you have somebody who didn't have any sales criteria. They would make a $10,000 purchase. They would use an automatic ad placement or ad posting service. They had no sales criteria. Mr. Regulator came in and said, what are they doing? What are they doing to generate revenue? That sounds like an investment to me. That sounds like a Ponzi. Now, I still would vehemently defend that, because I know what that company was headed towards, what they were bringing on to bring more customers to the table. And here's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. I've been in this business 19 years. I've been a part owner of a company. Most companies, if Mr. Regulator knocked on their door, they got nothing to do with our model, just a traditional MLM. If Mr. Regulator knocked on their door the first 1, 2, or 3 years of existence, Mr. Regulator would find plenty at fault. Why? Because Mr. Regulator wants to see that the company has so many, maybe 2 to 3 to 4 customers to every one person that's a promoter. And I will tell you, even in the traditional MLM space, traditional wellness product space, most companies would fail that test in the first year, in the first 2 years. The thing is, Mr. Regulator normally doesn't come the first year or 2 years or 3 years. Why? Because most companies aren't big enough to even be on the radar screen. The challenge that other company had was they did more sales in 18 months than what most companies, traditional companies, wouldn't do in 5 or 6 years. And they weren't prepared, so they didn't have some of these things in place to start with. We've got them from day one. All right. Over 25,000 points, then you need a minimum of 260 monthly PQV, with 60 of that coming from non-promoter sales. Okay, let's think about this. Let's look at last night. Let's look at last night. We can't promise these numbers, but let's look at last night. What happened last night? What happened last night is if you had 1,058.75 points, you earned 1,450 divided by your 1,058.75 in points. You earned a reward per point of 0.01369. Let's call it 0.0137, just to round up or down. Okay. If you had 25,000 points and you had that type of reward per point last night, you would have earned $342 in your daily leadership bonus. Ladies and gentlemen, if you earn $342.25 for a night, how difficult is it for you to have $260 in monthly personal qualifying volume, especially if you're diamond, that's already $200. How difficult is it for you to have a $60 in customer volume? How difficult is that, ladies and gentlemen? Not at all. Not at all. Now, what happens here is now there is a maximum amount of points that you can earn on based on your entire group's qualifying volume. Your entire group's qualifying volume. So this is how this works. So let's say I've hit 25,000 points, okay? And what the system's going to do is it's going to look at what my volume was for the month, and the next month it's going to determine how many Jubi points can I earn on. What's the max? So for instance, if I have let's say I've referred a few that referred a few and what have you. I'll tell you what. Give me a moment. I'm not going to tell you who this is, but I was looking as I'm making my mapping out my strategy for my Jubi suite. I was looking at some of my personally enrolled and their volume. Give me a moment. Wow. Okay. So I was looking at my Jubi suite. I was looking at my placement strategy and what have you, and there was someone that had roughly 6,500 in qualifying group volume. Now, what's qualifying group volume? Qualifying group volume is the impact of all of the monthly auto ships in your organization. And your organization is defined as not only people that you referred and they referred and they referred, but it's also defined as anyone in your unilevel. So if Tyron, if you placed Bob in Mary's leg, you place Bob in Mary's leg, Mary gets to count Bob and Bob's entire team for her group volume, even though she maybe did not enroll Bob in that example. Okay, so I've got someone that's got 6,500 in qualifying group volume. If we multiply that times 20, that person can earn on as much as 130,000 points. But they're not even close to 130,000 points. So they've got plenty of room there to grow. The whole purpose of this qualifier here is so you don't have someone who makes a $10,000 purchase like we saw in that other company, who doesn't come to webinars, they don't get customers, they don't try to build a team, they're just there as a $10,000 purchaser, and then they build up to 50,000 or 100,000 points, and they're earning $2,000 and $3,000 a day, but they're not bringing any volume to the table. That would be problematic. We know at some point Mr. Regulator is going to come. We know that's inevitable. We are doing everything that we can based on our attorneys and consultants to pass that test. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there were folks that said the binary model wouldn't work. If there were negative bloggers back then, they'd have been negative blogging about that as well. But the folks that said, wait a minute, this thing is viable. It just needs to have some tweaks. You don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. If you and I had been with USANA that really showed that the binary model could work, we wouldn't be on this webinar right now. Somebody's going to prove this model works. I'm going to be there when they prove it. I think I'm with that company right now. So these are your qualifiers, ladies and gentlemen. These are your qualifiers. One of the things that you should be doing is you should be paying attention in your back office under eCash, under commissions. You should really be paying attention to this right here. You want to pay attention to your current group qualifying volume. Your current group qualifying volume. The higher this is, the more points you're going to be entitled to earn on. By the way, that doesn't mean that if this person who's got 6,500 in qualifying group volume, that means the next month they could earn on 20 times that, or 130,000. It doesn't mean that if they have 22,000 points that they're going to automatically start earning on 130. That's not what that means. It means that people ask this question. People ask the question, is there a cap? Well, yeah, there's a cap of $100,000 a week that you can earn from the JubiRev daily leadership bonus. The other question I had, well, wait a minute, that's a very generous cap. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, see, the company knows you're not going to earn $100,000 a week in daily leadership bonuses unless you got a lot of group volume. So that's another way to cap the income. What we saw with the previous company, we saw that do that $10,000 purchase. They didn't recruit anybody. They didn't do any sales. They brought no additional revenue to the table other than their one $10,000 purchase. So how was it? How was it that they were able, a year from then or 18 months from then, how was it that they were able to get $10,000 a week in commissions? And what Mr. Regulator said is, where was the sales volume? That didn't sound like a business. That sounds like an investment. And that's why that company, along with a few other things, got in some trouble. You don't change the whole model. You just need to make the proper tweaks, okay? Now, I know I went through that very comprehensively. I hope in doing so that now you start to see some differences, because I always get this question, what makes Jubi different than that company that ran into some regulatory headwinds? That company was told to put some sales criteria in place. I was called in on a conference call in in December of 2011 saying, prepare your teams that these sales criteria are going to be put in place. And guess what happened? The sales criteria never got put in place. If the sales criteria had been put into place, ladies and gentlemen, that company may still be alive today. All right, next question. Bear with me. Got that? Okay, Robert. Someone says, hey, I joined Fly Guy on Tuesday night. No customers yet. What's happening? Remember what we said, and if you read your information, when you joined Fly Guy, okay, I joined Fly Guy Tuesday during the day, but joined Fly Guy, that the campaigns weren't going to start for another few days, and we didn't think that you were going to start to see any customers to probably the weekend or the first of next week. All right. So the campaigns, I believe the campaigns maybe are just starting, and so you should start to see. Remember, your link should be in a rotator, and then you should start to see customers coming in over the next few days. I will tell you that I had a nice talk with one of the folks behind Fly Guy on yesterday. They were actually out at a huge mega affiliate marketing expo. Some of the biggest affiliate marketers in the world, and then some of the biggest companies dealing with affiliate marketing. Excuse me. They showed me some screenshots, and I'm not privy to share just yet, of the types of places that they are going to be advertising on, the types of sites they're going to be advertising on. They were out there making some more connections and what have you. And so some of the sites that we eventually will have our ads on, guys, are going to be some major sites that have a lot of traffic. Be mindful, the folks behind Fly Guy are professional affiliate marketers. They know so much more about affiliate marketing and online marketing and traffic driving than, I mean, I know nothing when it comes to that, okay? And so they will be driving very high quality traffic. I actually believe that many of us will get more than enough of the sales volume with the criteria that we just talked about because of what Fly Guy will be doing. But yes, you should start seeing customers starting to come into your back office. They also told me, this is not back there just yet, they also told me, give me a moment, let me go back to Fly Guy. They also told me that in time, I don't know what that time is, when you're logging into your back office, give me a moment, let me log in. Bear with me. Bear with me, bear with me. In time with Fly Guy, and I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be. It'll probably be somewhere over here under customers, or maybe account. I'm not sure. But in time, you're going to have full analytics back here, where you're going to be able to see the number of people that hit your site, the number of people that then opted in. So you'll be able to see the conversion rate. So maybe 10 people hit your site and 5 or 6 of them actually opted in. I don't know what those numbers will be. You'll be able to see all of those analytics. So this is going to be a phenomenal system for us, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now remember also with Fly Guy, give me a moment, that probably within 30 days or so, by the time your next subscription is due, they should have a good handle on what the cost for customer acquisition happens to be. Now, I would imagine that if you choose to keep your auto ship, that you'll probably wind up, based on the number of customers you're getting, you'll probably wind up that being a better deal for you than just purchasing, 10 customers here or what have you. But again, I don't want any of you to feel like that you're locked into an auto ship. I know when you started with Fly Guy, you have an auto ship or you have a monthly subscription. All right, I don't want you to feel like you're locked into that. You'll be able to see, does that warrant? And here's what you should really be looking at. When they have their customer packages where you can just buy 5 customers here or 10 customers there or 25 customers there and see what that cost is per customer, it's real simple. It's a real simple business decision. If I'm on $99 a month subscription and I got so many customers for that 99 bucks, then does it warrant me staying on that 99 bucks if seemingly I got more customers than what I would pay $100 for customers for? If so, I stay on the subscription. If not, I come off and I just purchase customers when I need to purchase customers. Okay? Great question. I will tell you guys I'm really, really high because, again, I know that these folks are perfect. These are folks that would generate 6 figures a month. 6 figures a month selling skincare, weight loss, energy, vitality products online. Okay? Bear with me. Someone is saying, to give away a small amount of gift certificates, do I just need a valid email address to get them out? Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The company, again, the company is doing everything it can from a company perspective to make sure that this goose lays the golden egg for years and years and years to come. So one of the things that the company has done is they've got some IP blockers. So a person can't just sit down at their computer and put in 20 customers to give away Jubi bucks to generate Jubi points, and these customers are not real active customers. All right, so no matter how many Jubi bucks you're giving, now I believe, let's go and check, that the minimum amount of Jubi bucks you can give to a new customer is 5. So if you've got 3 Jubi bucks, you need to build up to 2 more. The question was, if I just have 3 Jubi bucks, how do I give those away? If you've got 3 Jubi bucks, but you have existing customers that you've not given the max to, all right, you can go under your Jubi team, My Jubi team, under the customer tab, and if you already have customers, for instance, I've got in this training site, I've got a Yolanda Ritchie, not a real, well, there is somebody probably named, but this was fictitious here for training purposes. I've got Yolanda Ritchie who's been given 5 Jubi bucks. I could assign Yolanda as little as 1 Jubi buck because she's already an existing customer. However, if Yolanda wasn't already an existing customer and I just wanted her to register to be a customer, I believe the minimum is 5. Let's make sure we go back to eCash. Again, you'll spend most of your time in eCash. JubiBuck Manager. And yes, you can select a denomination between 5 and 400. So if I've got 3 JubiBucks, then those 3 JubiBucks just stay in my JubiBuck inventory until I acquire at least 2 more JubiBucks for the purposes of registering a new customer and giving them at least 5 JubiBucks. I've got 3 JubiBucks. I have an existing customer, and I'm not giving them the maximum as of yet. I can go to that existing customer and give more JubiBucks away in denominations as little as 1 JubiBuck to that particular customer. Okay? Great question. Give me a moment. Got that. Someone says, please go over the monthly subscriptions, when they will be due, and when we can, and how we can change the date if we want to change that date. Troy, that's a great question. I know that's on the list of things that's being talked about. Your monthly anniversary is when your monthly subscription is due. So if you joined on April the 11th, then May the 11th would be your monthly anniversary. However, I know that there's some people that may want to have their auto ship dates on certain days of the month. I don't know that's still being talked about, Troy, so I don't know what the process is going to be if a person wants to change that date just yet. I do know that's one of the things that's at the top of the list, particularly because very, very soon there's going to be folks that they're going to be coming up on their monthly anniversary. So again, I've got a series of talks to kind of bring some things from the field to management and programming and support, and say, hey, here's some things that that we still need to address, so on and so forth, and try to get some time frames for you. Okay, Troy, I don't have those time frames for you right now. Pema, I hope I'm saying that right. What site are you saying you couldn't sign into? You're saying you couldn't get into your JubiRev site? Or is there another site you're talking about? Pam, if you're there, go on and answer me if you would, and I'll see your answer in just a few moments. I'll go to the next question. Someone asked, is there a time limit on the gift certificates that we give? I think we've already answered that. 30 days. What I don't know, Alice, is whether or not that 30-day timer has already started. I don't know. If I place my ad at 8 o'clock tonight, will it count until 8 o'clock tomorrow? Yes, it's a 24-hour timer. What I would just get used to doing, I would get used to placing my ad every day, early in the day. Okay, so you know that your ad is done for that day. If I know, for instance, that I'm going to be tied up tomorrow, all right, if I know that I'm going to be tied up tomorrow and I may not be able to get in to place my ad before 5 p.m. Central, then what I'll do is I'll place my ad, if I'm going to be up a little bit later tonight, at 12:01, I'm there placing my ad. So I know that that covers me for the full calendar day, for the next day. Now, obviously, some of you have taken advantage of Fly Guy Marketing, and whether or not you stay long-term auto ship or not, one of the advantages of taking advantage of Fly Guy Marketing was if at the $49 subscription level, you get your link in the rotator once. You also get 1 month of ad placing and ad posting services. I would tell you to make sure you place your ad tomorrow. I expect that they will have things up, but I would tell you to place your own ad tomorrow. It may be over the weekend or the first part of next week when the ad placing and ad posting service goes live. And once again, I can't promise this. I'd like to see the ad placing criteria go live next week as opposed to tomorrow, but again, I don't make that final decision. Obviously, I just give some input from the field. All right, so I have everybody planning on placing their ad tomorrow, and that's what I tend to do is if I'm placing my own ad, I'm a night owl. If I know I'm going to be up after 12 my time, I place that ad before I go to bed. I know I'm covered for the next calendar day. Just get used to it. It only takes a couple of minutes. Just get used to it. Put that in your business day. Company's going to pay us a lot of money to place our ads and have a little sales volume. So let's just get used to doing that, okay? Any news on when those people who placed an order with Max Bucks will be able to use remaining Jubi Bucks? Troy, I don't know that I really understand your question. I know that when I placed my order, I had, let's say if I were to go in right now, and use make an order, if I were to go in right now and make an order with my Max Bucks, let's say I made a $200 order, all right, it would subtract from my Max Bucks to 130, and then the other 70 Jubi Bucks would be debited. You know what? I wonder if you're talking about if you're going straight to shopping. Troy, are you talking about if you go straight to shopping? Yes. Yes.
He is speaking of when you place an order. Let's say you place an order for 150 Max Bucks, and you have 50 Max Bucks left over. You can't. Whenever you go back into your into that area to use the Max Bucks again, to try to use the rest of your Max Bucks, it doesn't drop down, so you don't have any. You don't have any products there to try to order.
So if I went, okay, you're talking about when I'm on the eCash right now, and I go where? Where do you want me to go?
Max Bucks. Max Bucks.
Click on Max Bucks.
And when you click on Max Bucks, that's where you use the order.
Yeah, the same thing that someone was asking about the auto ship. That's one of those. Let me make a note of that. Give me a moment.
And see, either way, you go into Max Bucks or auto ship, it's still not going to get you order.
All right. So it looks like if I've already used Max Bucks, if I have already used Max Bucks,
it won't let you use them again, and
gotcha.
It needs to be fixed again before next month. Especially, but some people didn't use all their Max Bucks this time.
Gotcha. Thank you, leaders. Thank you. Okay, fantastic.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Troy. Troy, is that what you were talking about? Yeah, okay, Troy's saying that's what I was talking about. Rob, I see what you're saying there. Rob's saying, hey, I had quite a few Max Bucks. I only spent a little bit, and I've got 185 Max Bucks left that I can't use. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Bear with me. Guys and guyettes, I should say, not just the dudes. All right.
Not a guy.
Yeah. Thank you, dudettes. All right, give me a moment. Okay. Bear with me. Hey, hey, Matt, you had asked a question, Matthew. You had asked a question earlier, based on the number you've given me for your Jubi points. That makes a lot of sense to me. If you're doing your reward per point, then that makes perfect sense to me as to what that is looking like for you on a daily basis. Okay. All right, bear with me. Oh, let me hit this real quickly. Let me hit something real quickly, and I know we've got a lot of questions here, and I'm trying to get to as many of them as I can. This is particularly for those of you that were with that company that had penny auctions, Queen. And for instance, we've had rewards per point of 0.0134. I think we had 0.0136, 0.0137. I think we've had that a couple days now, 0.0137. And when I have sent out emails, I have said how impressed I am, and I am, of these rewards per point. I want to take you back and share a couple things real quickly. When I joined the company that had that penny auction, Queen, they were paying rewards that were actually in many cases smaller than this as we got out of the gate. Now, ultimately, they picked up significantly as things as revenue started to generate and the name of that company started to come out there. But you got to remember something. I never expected, and I don't know that I have shared this the way that I should have, I never expected that we would have a reward per point at 0.0178, 0.0182, 0.0193. Why? Well, remember with that particular company, what were they selling? Penny auction bids. How much does it cost to generate a penny auction bid?
Nothing.
Nothing. It's thin air. It's thin air. There's no shipping. There's no labeling. There's no boxes. There's no manufacturing cost. There's no returns. If something happens with the product and it gets returned, there's none of that. Okay. So obviously, if you have a product or service that you can just manufacture out of thin air that really costs you absolutely nothing other than server space, you're going to have tremendous profit margins. When you have a company that is sending out physical product, the company has to cover the cost of the physical product, which includes everything from the formulation of the product to the manufacturing of the product to the bottles to the labels. In time, the company will have brochures. Don't ask me when that will be, not sure, but in time there'll be product brochures and all that stuff. We've already seen, Queen, when I came back from being out of the country, my box of products was sitting in my office. My son had put it by my office, and it was a box, and it didn't say JubiMax or anything like that. And yet when I saw Jeff's YouTube video today where they had just dropped off his products, he had a JubiMax box. So already we're seeing that an evolution, as it were. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't expect us to have 0.0182, 0.0193. I am very, very satisfied, more than satisfied, if we're in this range. As a matter of fact, Queen, what do I show? What do I show on our Everyday Can Be Payday webinars as an example? 0.0125. So in my mind, Queen, if we're at 0.0125, we're in good shape. Anything above that, to me, is gravy. Okay. Just want to make sure that you guys have that we've set the right expectation. Okay. Okay. How do we make changes to auto ship? That's not there yet. That should be coming. Oh, I'm backed up. Let me see. Okay. Answered that one. Bear with me. Answered that one. Someone's asking about in-touch marketing. Guys, I'm behind on that. Those of you that are doing some things with in-touch marketing, I need to connect with, and we will be connecting with Queen and with Bob on that. I'm way, way behind. I cannot give you anything, any credible information because I'm behind on that. I apologize, but obviously we're still playing a lot of catch-up. My plan is the first of the week to get on the horn. The reason I say Queen, because Queen has been a lot more active and had a lot more conversations with him than I have. I need to have a conversation with him. I'd like to have that conversation with Queen so she can help me be up to date with some of the things that are happening, and then we will report back to our audience that that's leveraging In Touch marketing from there. Okay. Excuse me. Hey, Wally from Kansas City, happy birthday, buddy. That comes from Joyce. Happy birthday. By the way, keep Sandra Davies continually in your thoughts and prayers. I believe her husband was laid to rest today, and she's one of our great teammates. So if you know Sandra, you've seen her in maybe a couple of the Skype rooms, just let her know that she's in your thoughts and prayers, okay?
And Piedmont is Sandra.
It's Sandra. Forgive me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Troy says people want to know where the founder's emblem is. Why is it missing? I don't know, but let me tell you something. I'll put that on my list. Let me tell you something that is so unique, okay? And this is a leadership principle you need to understand when it comes to this industry. Queen, not everyone, but in my 19 years in this industry, what I have seen is that people will work harder for recognition than they will the money. People will work harder for recognition than they will the money. I have probably had more questions through Skype and emails about where is the founder's emblem than I have anything else.
See, you know what, when he just asked about, when he just said it, I looked. I didn't even catch it.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not there. I'll put that on my list because I really, I'm telling you, I have probably had more in terms of a single question the past 2 or 3 days. It's been that more than anything else. I'm not sure.
We want our emblem to the mind.
People want their emblem. I'm going to make sure you get your emblem. Okay, hold on. Give me a moment. Let me jot that one down because that keeps coming up. Founders emblem. Vic and Jerry Stewart really taught me that. Tremendous leaders here. And I've seen it also, Queen. We would go to the big company shindig, right, where people would run across the stage. These were people that were making $100,000 a year. Some people were making $1 million or more a year. They would get a T-shirt as a recognition. They'd throw out a T-shirt to them. And some of these grown, burly men would I can't say that, would cry like a baby. How about that? I've got a webinar mom, by the way. If my mom's not here, I've got a webinar mom. And I said a word one time, and she said, "You shouldn't say that. That's not nice." I caught myself. Okay, let's see what else we have. We got just a couple more minutes here.
Just a couple.
That person's calling. So if you bought one share in Fly Guy Co-op, do they do an ad placement automatically? The answer to that is going to be yes. However, what you will need to do, I don't know if it's up yet. Let's go my login. What you will need to do, if you have bought a co-op position in Fly Guy, what you will need to do is you'll need to come back here under ad placement and go under ad preferences. It's still showing coming soon, so I'm hoping that's going to be there tomorrow. What you're going to need to do, Khalil, is come under here under ad preferences and choose the ad that you want to have, that you want to have placed. And then you'll be ready to go. You'll be fine. And you should get a text message and an email message once your ad has been placed and posted. They did tell me that right now it will be one ad a day that will be placed and posted. One ad a day that will be placed and posted. The other day, I misspoke. I said there will be multiple ads. I misspoke. It will be one ad a day that will be placed and posted by a Fly Guy. What will you do tomorrow, or maybe later on tonight? Tomorrow, come back here under ad placement and ad preferences. What I would have you to do tomorrow, because I will tell you that Fly Guy was working in concert There'll be other vendors at some point. What the company is doing is, I've got a round third here in just a few moments, Queen, is they want to vet the vendors, particularly on the customer side. The biggest concern the company has, it cannot endorse any customer acquisition or ad placement, ad posting service, but the biggest thing they want to do, Queen, particularly from the customer acquisition side, is to make sure that real customers are seeing our site. So this thing of simply going out and buying these co-reg cheap leads that people never see your site, that won't happen here. And again, why? Because when not if, when Mr. Regulator comes, he's going to want to look. He's going to want to look, or she's going to want to look at our customers. They're going to want to look at those customers that have registered, and they're going to want to see that there's an ample conversion of people that actually registered and used JubiBucks. They're going to want to see there's an ample conversion of people that used JubiBucks and came back and bought some more. Okay? So we can't have systems that give us leads that never see your site just for the purposes of converting bucks to points. We can do that, Queen, and we can have a good 18-month run, and then we could be right back here in 18 months having to start over again. And Queen, I ain't trying to do that.
No.
No.
Neither.
No. 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 Okay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we will probably do next week, Queen. We will probably have a Tuesday, Thursday webinar next week for a team standpoint. Some training on Tuesday, more Q&As on Thursday. That's probably what we'll do for the next week or two to try to get through as many of your questions as possible. Plus, what this also does for me is this allows me to see where we still have a little things that we need to work on from the company standpoint, so I can go back to management, go back to programming and say, hey, these are some things that we need to have. And I definitely need to go back, Queen, and say, folks want their founder's emblem.
Yeah.
Now, what we have done is this has been audio recorded. We will be sending this out tomorrow morning in our Teams post. If you are not getting emails from, I think it says T. Lamont, JubiRev team, I believe that's where it comes from, or it might be the other way around, JubiRev team, T. Lamont, then what you need to do is to send an email to JubiRevTeam@aweber.com. That'll put you in our list. This is our pledge to you. When you register with this list, we never send out a personal referral link or anything like that at all. We understand that many of you that are on this webinar, you have nothing to do with me being your enroller, okay? We build with integrity, we build with character, which is why over the last few years, any team or any company we've been with, we've been able to hit the highest ranks because our people believe in what we do, because we do things right. All right, so you can feel free and you can feel confident that you can get your teammates registered in our email list, JubiRevTeam@aweber.com. We send out typically 2 posts a day, one in the late morning to sometimes early afternoon, and one in the later afternoon. So normally it's somewhere between about 10 a.m. Eastern and 12 Eastern. That just lets you know what's going on. Maybe there's a video link in there for you. Maybe there's an audio link in there with a little training or what have you. Let you know the webinars that we'll be hosting and other pertinent information about the company. We are working on our team training portal. I've got a meeting with the folks that's working on that. Well, I've got to get them some information hopefully tomorrow, and then they'll start mapping out all that. So we will have a team training portal here over probably in the next couple of weeks. We'll have that, so that even the team training webinars that we have, the audio recordings or any video recordings, we'll start posting that back there, so you'll have a a library if you can't make that particular webinar, or if you have new people coming aboard and they want to come back and listen to it, so on and so forth. We're committed to your success. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. We're going to be on the webinar in just a few moments with the company JubiRevWebinar.com. That is an income opportunity webinar I'll be hosting. We may have our president and owner on there as well. He told me, Queen, he was going through webinar withdrawals.
Well, he was having fun, T. Lamont. He has been having a lot of fun at the table. So
we love you guys.
Took away his fun.
We love you guys. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
So that's it for now. If you have any questions, please get back to the person that shared this video with you, or you can send a support ticket from your JubiRev back office. Thank you. We look forward to hearing of your success.